G'day, punters, and welcome to a very special Origin edition of the Ned's NRL Unpopular Opinions podcast. I am not Jared Timms. I am not Ryan Cook. I am Oscar Panafex, and I'm here filling in off the bench as host today, or co-host.
Co-host.
With my not friend this week, Jharal.
Just till Wednesday's over, and then we'll be fine again, mate.
Revert to our usual positions.
The co-hostess with the mostest. Hey. You could say that. Everything's about Origin today, Oscar, and it's been a big week. I suppose for a little bit of Origin chat. There's been, as always, been stuff coming up in Origin camps, but none other than the biggest story that's come out of the week. And I think we have to address and acknowledge the elephant in the room, and that's the passing of Cam Munster's father, Stephen Munster, so suddenly. It's not something that you sort of want to tie in with rugby league, but it's definitely gives you the look on. There's more to life, right? Than a bit of perspective on than rugby league, and as mad as money is, this is such a sad day for him and himself and his family, and I just feel sending condolences to the Munster family and everyone that's involved.
Yeah, I think there was. What did it remind me of, the image of Billy Slater with the rest of the Queensland team behind him?
It would have been Melbourne Storm
was
when
Craig
Bellamy. That's what when they shot that shot.
That's what it reminded. Yeah,
when they all walked together and acknowledged what had happened for them. But this is a bit. This is obviously a lot more serious this situation, and I'm just in disbelief that he'll play on Wednesday.
Well, I mean, you just mentioned it before. Like, as mad as Munster is, like, he's the type of character that. We won't speak anymore about the loss personally and what that does, what that means off the field. But in terms of the 80 minutes on Wednesday night, if Munster plays, assuming he's playing at the moment, he is the kind of character that can turn an emotional kind of moment like this into an incredible performance on Wednesday night. It could also go the other way. Yeah. How do you feel as a Queenslander, I guess, going into
it? I'm just getting goosebumps talking about it. It's a touchy subject because, all footy aside, you sort of go, well, how, in a little way, does it affect all these guys' personalities and
how does it affect not just Munster but the wider squad with him not there?
It's going to be. This is probably one of the most, weirdest situations to be in. Right now, I don't know. Have you ever heard any? Have you ever seen anything like this before?
It's just like a horrible, obvious, but in a way, like, it almost fits this series to a point. That's been a seriously emotionally charged, difficult, like tumultuous series, I think, for individuals. But looking at the wider squad, I'm not aware if a guy like DCE's been brought back into camp this week or whether Ezra Mam is training with them this week as well. Reece Walsh is 18th man at the moment.
Well, let's. I think we jump around into that. Let's have a little conversation.
The hypothetical, if he doesn't play,
because first things first is we want Cam to be okay mentally. Correct. And hopefully he's got that time with his family. But there's a footy game to be played as well.
Yep.
And it's on Wednesday night, and it's a decider in Sydney, and it's a weird one because you've got Reece Walsh, who is the 18th man. He's a replacement player. So no matter what, if there's a head knock that's an illegal, he'll be playing. Mm-hmm. If there's an illegal play, he'll be put into the game. So I wonder if they get a chance to bring someone else in because you sort of need to have.
You're not aware if anyone has been. It's not in the news.
Not right now. I am. I'm not aware, but you would think. Honestly, you would think that if there's anyone to come in, it'd probably be Ez.
Yeah.
Because of the positioning, I would say, or placement. We're not going to. I just don't think Reece Walsh will play in the halves.
No,
who else is in this side that can fill that? Probably nobody. So
Kurt Mann's at 14. I'm not aware of what the rules are. Where this is such a unique situation.
Yeah, it is a unique situation.
So you would assume if Munster doesn't play that they're. I would assume it would be a daily, but we're talking hypotheticals here. But on the topic of potentially Daly coming back in this weird situation, let's talk about another returning Origin legend and veteran who starts for the Maroons this week in the middle. Josh Papali'i, what does he bring?
Oh, no,
to the
I
Maroons
just said
for
to you
this
off
game?
camera, I was like, forward pack gets me very excited for Queensland.
Yep.
Just looking at the team list and, the matchups between Tino and Payne, we know, we're just licking our chops at that. Like, that's hot stuff when you talk about rugby league, just big man on big man. That's too exciting. But then you've got the young fella in Max King coming in who's not played a lot of footy here in this arena, and Josh Papali'i coming back and wanting a fairy tale finish in the maroon jersey. Yeah, I don't like to say it a lot because I'm a winger, but that's where the game's won, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where the middle of the pack is,
I think.
it is going to be won through the middle of the pack, and there will be some big moments, I believe, some fireworks from those 4 players,
including Josh. Yeah, look, I think Tino's done a bloody good job, I think, of going toe-to-toe with Payne. But I think if there's been one criticism of Queensland's pack throughout this series, it's maybe Tino not getting the help that he's needed at different moments.
Yep.
So I think, like, even if what this means is having Papa on for the first 15, 20, is that, 10% less gas that Tino's burnt in those opening exchanges, so he can go a little longer or be a little bit more effective for a little longer in the back end of halves. It just really rounds out a forward, like that middle rotation nicely. That Carrigan's going to play big minutes, so you really just need Lindsay and Papali'i to kind of pad those minutes.
Yeah, just back on the back of that. Yeah. And I don't think Tino had the greatest game in game 2. There was a lot of errors from him.
Errors, yeah.
And he would have, he pride himself on, wanting to play good in this game. So it's a tough game for Queensland because our record in Sydney as of late hasn't been great. It's been tough, and I think we both know where it needs to be started, and it's in the middle, and those 4 players are going to be very integral to where this game goes on Wednesday night.
Yeah, that's a good segue. I think I wrote in the Neds blog this week talking about some deciding factors, I think, just for both clubs. So what needs to happen for Queensland to play their best footy versus what New South Wales are going to try and do with the ball. Doesn't always work out the way that either coach has planned. As we saw in game 2, the Blues weren't able to put in a lot of fatigue in early and get the game cycle going, and it left them behind the 8 ball a bit. Queensland did well to to execute on and isolate and capitalise on, the moments that they did enjoy.
Yep.
Starting through the middle, as you've mentioned, now you've got another big body in Papali'i who can skittle defenders, find his front and generate quick play the balls. The best version of this Maroons attack was playing that really, it wasn't repeatable actions that you scored through, but it was repeatable principles.
Yeah, yep.
You're just trying to generate momentum throughout a yardage set. If you get one quick play the ball on tackle 3, that's a Harry Grant half dart on tackle 4, which is a Kalen Ponga quick play the ball on tackle 5, and suddenly you're running. We saw very similar looks like that when Munster went over beside the posts. That was off 2 consecutive quick play the balls.
Yeah, and
Kurt Capel's try as well.
Yep.
With Harry Grant darting after KP and just finding Dearden and then Kurt Mann and then Kurt Capel in the chaos.
Yeah.
Is that the same kind of style of footy we're expecting to see from the Maroons with the ball?
I think I said in game 2, we're going to need to jump out of the blocks. I just feel like this Blues side has been a side over the years to jump out of the blocks fast and run away with it. I feel like as they've evolved, this New South Wales side, they've understood and realised how to stay in a game for a long period of time and win it at the end, which is, and pardon the cliche, but it's very Queensland. Like that's how Queensland's always played. So I feel like the tables have turned a tiny bit in over the past couple of years. So we're gonna need that punch straight away, because to take anything out of what's going to be just a wave of blue down in Sydney. We're going to need to take the crowd out of the game a tiny bit at the start, because it's going to be from someone who's played there. It is terrifying. It's terrifying. Like, it's so loud. Like, I'll give the New South Wales supporter base this. They've started to come to the table a little bit in the last couple of years.
We've got something to cheer about.
I remember a period of time where they couldn't sell out. They couldn't sell it out. That's been sold out in a week in advance. They've done their due diligence to the team and what they need to do. But it's going to be. We're going to need to bring. We're going to have an ambush to beat this New South Wales side. I've always said it. They've got classy players all over the park. And I think I am still yet, which makes me very nervous. I'm still yet to think that Nathan Cleary hasn't put his stamp.
Has dominated.
How many
times have we read that headline?
You know what I mean? And
3 weeks,
and it makes me worried. Yep. The most, because as a player, this is the game you want.
Yep.
If you want a game to thrive on and people to remember you by, he's already a freak.
Sure.
Like, don't get me wrong with that, but he's going to really need to take this game by the balls and go with it. It's Nathan Cleary's game. This one. This is his to win. So it's going to be an interesting matchup between the halves as well. There's been a little bit of talk through camp of injuries and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I hope for the game and for everyone watching, for all the fans, that there's none of that come.
No late changes.
No late changes.
Yep.
We see both sides go into what they've been 10 days ago, and we see a nice clean Origin game. Yeah. Maybe not clean. You know what I mean. You know exactly.
Clean
what I mean.
enough.
Clean enough,
but it's enough shit around it.
But I think we've got enough for a great game here, and this one could go down in the history books of being one of the greatest, because a lot of narratives to this one.
It's definitely the best. It feels like the best roster that Billy's put together of the 3 games.
Yeah.
It feels un-Queensland like that we're saying it's taken them 3 goes to get it right. I say get it right because he's won it last game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where the points are going to come from, or where we think they're going to come from. We'll start with the Blues, because you just mentioned Nathan Cleary. If he is to have a big game, and if there is, I'm not even sure that I'm that keen on the rhetoric around he needs to do this or that in Origin yet. But I understand the conversation. I think we talked about it in the aftermath of game 2, how deep he was getting into the line on those left edge movements for Latrell. I was watching the footage this morning. He's getting the usually, as the attacking half, you're trying to get the attention of the 4-in defender, which is defending back rower, as you will know, Jharal, and the 3-in defender, which is 3 players in from the sideline, which is usually the half. Mm-hmm. And then the 5-man, therefore, would be one further infield. It's usually a middle. In this case, it was Harry Grant, more mobile than a guy like Tino, for example. Correct. So he can cover a little bit further. Cleary was getting across the 5-man, Harry Grant, getting the 4-man Ruben Cotter to turn in, and getting the 3-man Tom Dearden to come so far up off the line that he was actually touching Angus Crichton's lead run. So by the time the ball goes out the back, and then they were adding Spencer as a fake, and Zach Lomax was coming over the other side as a double fullback. So by the time Latrell got the ball and produced the highlight reel moment, the damage had already been done. I think it's safe to say we see the Blues look down there again, but do you think they'll make a target of Gemmet Shibasaki on the other edge?
Yeah, look, I don't think they will. I think they'll go back to the pot that's given them so much, and that is Latrell Mitchell.
Just go back to the well.
Look, we know that Critter's got great hands as well. We've seen it before, but why fix something that's not broken?
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean?
That's their best strength.
And the other thing is, I don't feel like Trell had the best game, his best running game in game 2 either. When he was carrying, they were getting underneath him enough.
Yep.
When Stephen Crichton runs the ball, he's so rangy that it's so hard to get close to him, because
he gets that lean in,
correct.
He
so
creates separation.
And I think that's going to be a really good battle between, don't get me wrong, with Gem and him. And I like that he's got that challenge, Gemmet Shibasaki, up against Stephen Crichton. And I'm sure Stephen Crichton is licking his lips as well to seeing a guy who's going to debut in game 3,
debutant,
and so right for him to be able to be excited for that. But I think they're going to go down that same edge. Will they be as successful if we've got someone like Valentine Holmes on that edge? Will he play on that edge?
I was going to ask that earlier.
I think he will.
In game 1,
I think Coates will go up against Lomax again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So in game 1, you had Coates on the right wing.
And then he's moved
to jump over Toto, and then they got moved around.
Yeah.
So, so you're saying Coates is that right side again?
Well, I've spoken about it a lot. I would rather a defensive winger than an attacking winger any day of the week. And I feel like Xavier Coates, with Zach Lomax, you're going to get more luck. Well, not luck, but you're going to get... It's going to be a better contest
better to defend,
between them two.
Yep.
And look, we've watched Val. I think where you've got to watch out is for this pass, right? I think Valentine Holmes in Origin and when he's played on the wing is one of the best people at picking intercepts.
Well, that's what I think he'll be on the right.
Yeah, so I think that's where New South Wales have to be careful. If Trell is going to pass that pass for the first time where he thinks it's going to be easy, I think Valentine Holmes is very smart in how he defends on the wing.
Yeah, he is.
And he's a lot better at picking that. So, yeah, I suppose we'll just find out, and that's the exciting part about all these movements, right? It's not. It hasn't been the game one. It hasn't been the same as game one. It hasn't been the game same. Now you've got to find something else in people in different positions. So, exciting stuff.
Yeah, a Val Holmes' length of the field intercept try scares the shit out of me. I think that's how they'll line up as well.
Yep.
I think what that means, though, is you're getting Shibasaki and Xavier Coates on the left edge.
Yep.
And I think that will be a target. Not to say that Gemmett's not a good defender, because we spoke on the podcast last week. He uses his body well. He makes one-on-one tackles well. He's not as quick across the ground laterally. If he's checking the lead runner and then turning out and chasing on Stephen Crichton. And we saw what Critter did to Val Holmes in exactly that action in game one.
Yeah, correct.
The big in and away. I actually think Gem profiles quite well to contain that, but the opportunities then come that one channel wider.
Yeah.
You've got a new centre in Shibasaki defending against a new left winger in Xavier. Xavier has missed his assignment a few times when he jams.
Yep.
I think it opens up some looks for Zach Lomax. I think he's a really appealing try scorer for the Blues this game as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting matchup between them two, which is it's just exciting for the game to watch. What do you think? What do you like about your bench? Give me something about the bench that you sort of come up with, or give me something you don't like about them. Because when I look at it, honestly, it doesn't scare me as much as probably what your benches you've previously had. It's not something that I'm super worried about. I don't think Spencer had his greatest game. I don't think Connor probably had his greatest game. He's still, damaging that last little bit of the game when he got that time, but I just don't. Stefano's not for me. He doesn't pack enough punch.
That's fair.
He's not packing enough punch for me. Hudson Young does scare me because he can do things on his own, but
he also scares me for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is he too erratic?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've got Queensland coming off the bench. You've got people like Pat Carrigan and Lindsay Collins who are leaders in their sides, who are and Jeremiah Nanu who's been here a lot of times before as well. So I had a look at the bench and it excites me for Queensland, not so much for New South Wales.
It's a good makeup, I think. Having Jeremiah Nanai off the bench as well, you get all the best parts of his game with the ball, and you manage to hide a few of his deficiencies without it.
Well, he's not gassed as much, which we need because we know when
what he can do
when Jeremiah gets a little bit tired.
I don't mind him for a try scorer tip for the Maroons. I think a lot of their footy was eyes up, but their one repeatable action they did have was they tried to get at Luai and Latrell.
Yep.
I think that's probably the space as well. Yeah, I would have loved to see Keon Kolomatangi on the bench there somewhere. I just think he offers a little bit more impact-wise, but I think if you're looking at what the Blues, the ideal situation for New South Wales, we don't really need impact on that second wave. The whole game plan for New South Wales, we've got the pack, the backline, and the kicking game in general play to play field position, territory, and put fatigue into you. And like you said at the start, set the game up early to win it late once fatigue sets in. That's what Penrith have done for 5 years. That's what Queensland did for 8 years before that. And I think that's the Blues' best bet. And for that reason, I don't mind guys like Steph coming off the bench. Hudson, with his potential errors, concerns me. But at the same time, when he gets it right, he's a handful. And then maybe, Connor Watson's probably the only other talking point. There was a period in the second half when New South Wales were coming back in game 2 in good ball.
Yeah.
Watson made a couple of poor dummy half decisions. So he's had winning involvements in just about every other Origin game he's played, so I'm expecting an improvement from him.
I don't want to talk too much about this, but how do you think he's going to ref this game, Ashley Klein? Because
I think I reckon it's going to be...
Do you reckon he's going to let it go?
I reckon there's going to be 3 penalties each for the whole game.
I agree.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is going to be for all those people out there who are whinging, from both parties. First game, I thought there was a lot of 50-50s that could have gone Queensland way, and as much as it was one way in the first half for Queensland, he's got to let it go.
Yeah.
He's got to let it go, and I really, really hope so. I hope those penalties or whatever only come in the middle of each half, where there's much momentum swing, and it'd be good if he just put the whistle away and didn't blow it at all.
I think both teams have to have learned a discipline lesson from this series to date as well. So I think like New South Wales, you saw what happened. They stopped shooting themselves in the foot. They almost chased down the biggest lead in Origin history in 40 minutes in game 2.
Don't remind me of that. I'm getting nervous. It's going to be another blockbuster, mate.
I'm fizzing for it, mate. I've been glazing up Trell all series. It's probably been the most quiet pre-game in terms of chat around him.
It's been, mate, you know what? He's been quiet. I think all year for the Rabbitohs.
He's been on a media ban.
In the sense of, but not. The old Trell Mitt would, have stuff to say. He's just shut his mouth, which I think that's when he plays his best footy. And he, out of them all, apart from Nathan Cleary, it scares me the most that he hasn't had. He hasn't let himself express himself yet.
Yes,
he hasn't expressed himself yet.
Yeah,
which that scares me coming game 3 because there's two young centres that are playing for Queensland that I'm not sure they might be able to go with someone like Trell Mitt if he flicks a switch.
The big fella loves a big stage.
And to be honest, I don't think there's a lot of people that can go with Latrell Mitchell when he flicks a switch. And that's being nice to everyone. So let's see how this unfolds, mate.
All right, well, speaking of, let's get into some tips. Pick a couple of try scorers. I think we've just kind of touched on there. I like Zach Lomax on the Blues right edge. I think Trell Mitt's in for a big game as well. And Brian To'o, given that very repeatable action we've seen through Trell's soft hands. For Queensland, I mentioned Jeremiah Nanai. I don't mind him coming on late in the second half and targeting the spaces around Jerome Luai. And I think Hammer is a great pick, just like we said. You're not setting up on spots of the field and trying to execute set pieces. You're just going to try and generate momentum, maybe some second phase play, and there's not a better player in the game at supporting through the middle. Yep. So I like the Hammer. Anything else sticking out to you?
Yeah, look, I'm going with the fairy tale debut. I mean, I would love Gemmet Shibasaki.
See big Gem score.
I feel like he'll obviously be paying a little bit because you're going up against Stephen Crichton. Yep. I just feel like if we get close enough, I just think he is too thick and big.
He can carry something.
To be able to be stopped that close to the line. And I'm going for the fairy tale
just throw
debut.
It to him.
Just give him the
one-on-one, tackle forward, just one-on-one, let him go. Yeah.
Let's see how he goes. So I like Gemmet Shibasaki anytime try scorer.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that as well. I hate it.
No, but
I don't hate it.
And you know what? Stephen Crichton is the best defensive centre in the game.
Yep.
So it's asking a lot.
It's a tall task.
It's asking a lot, but I also like a bit of value. You know what I'm like. I love a bit of value. So I think I want Gem to go over.
Yeah. He's scoring for fun at the Bronx at the moment, backing up on the inside too if Xavier can make a little line break down that edge.
So should we go to our multi?
Yeah, I want to do a man of the match first.
Okay.
And then we'll dial back in. We'll get our tips from Ryan and Fogs.
Who you going man of the match then?
Man of the match, yeah. I talked about this with Fogs on the offload. I think Payne Haas has been huge this series. I think we just talked about at the start it's going to be one through the middle, so I don't mind Payne. I think he's pretty short for Blues, about $5. And then I'm also going to have a little bit on Trell Mitt as well. If he can have a couple of big moments, I think that might be enough for man of the match. Yeah,
I'm going to go Harry Grant. Yeah, I think it's a huge game for him.
Yep.
I think in the scenario with what's happened.
Yep.
I think as a leader from Melbourne, who I think he'll naturally take over that role and just be the voice. And I think he'll want to get one. I think he'll need to and want to get one up down in New South Wales. So I've got him for having a huge game.
Yeah, that terrifies me. Yeah. He was much better in game 2. His performance in game 1 probably rules him out for player of the series.
Correct.
Yeah. I think overall Brian To'o's a short price favourite at the moment because he scored 4 or 5. That surprised me though.
Yeah.
Like he's been good.
Has a winger ever got it?
I don't think
so either. And I wonder how people feel about that.
I love Bizza, but I'm surprised. Like, he hasn't been our best player across 2 games in my opinion. So yeah. Anyway, I think Payne Haas is probably a good value there, and Isaiah Yeo as well through the middle. Wally Lewis medal for the Blues.
Yep.
Queensland. It's got to be money, right?
Yeah, I think it has to be money. Yeah.
He's been your best in 2 games so far.
And pending everything, is going to plan and he does come back into the side and has a good game, I think it'll be pretty hard if Queensland win with him in the side
to not give it to
take
him.
away from him.
Yeah.
Not the narrative wise. I just think that he played his arse off in game 1, stood up as a leader in game 2, and it's a big moment for him on Wednesday if he does play.
Massive.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're going to dial in with the boys, get their multi-tips, come back for a multi for Wednesday night. All right, welcome back, punters, particularly those living south of the Tweed. We've put together a multi. Fogs and Ryan have dialed in their tips.
Juicy.
Look, let's just say, if this hits, Jharal, no more Devon dinners for me this season, all right?
No more noodles for my kids either.
That's right. We're going straight to the ribeye fillets and chicken Kiev territory. So, Fogs started us off with Cameron Munster.
Cameron Munster. He does love his money.
He loves Munster.
He does love his money, and loves Munster. So he has led us off pretty. That's pretty bold.
That's a bold first leg.
It's a bold first leg.
But Munster is a bold man.
He is a bold man.
And I don't hate it. So Fogs with his favourite money man, Munster.
Yep. Ryan has gone with Xavier Coates. Anytime try scorer, which... I don't hate also.
It's a bread and butter leg, isn't it?
It is a bread and butter leg for him. He rarely diverts, and they're not here to defend themselves. But he rarely diverts. He loves short payers.
He does.
Yeah.
And his record on the podcast multi is superb, but if you tallied up the value of all those legs, where would he be, punters?
Yeah, he would be nowhere, like his life. Sorry, Ryan.
Speaking of Rizzler, I've stolen a leg that he took earlier in the series, Zach Lomax.
Yeah.
I'm going to take to score any time, whether it's a kick, whether it's, like I said, a tip-off critter, or whether he's...
Really nerve-wracking that he didn't get his way in game 2 on those
on the kicks.
On the kicks, and they're going to go back to what they... Like, he's not going to change his plan.
No.
He's very good under the high ball. I like him under the high ball. Don't like that he's playing for New South Wales, but not a bad leg.
So you're happy with... Zach Lomax for me. And then you have taken?
Yeah, I've gone Val Holmes to score 8 or more points. Now, this has been a really good honeypot for me because I think the last 2 games we've led into that and it's hit both times.
Yes, we have.
So Val playing on the wing surely gets a try.
Loves to find the line. Loves a line. I don't mind that from Val as well. He only needs to score 1 and then slot maybe a penalty or another conversion, 8 points.
Well, we're looking. I know this is looking juicy.
Look,
what
do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
I'm looking at it right here. My phone screen's not large enough to show this enormous number. $31.30.
$31.
We're getting for Lomax, Coates, Munster, and Val Holmes to score 8 or more points personally.
Punters, if you want any value this week,
that's right.
There it is. Yep. That's your multi. Hopefully we can get some home and $31.
Tell you what, the punters will be hearing about it if this one lands.
I think we will be too.
All right. Thank you, Jharal. That was fun being here. I better not get too comfortable on this side.
Yeah, don't. I like you
this
over
week,
here.
mate. But I'll get back over there next week.
Stay there for 1 week,
but
all right?
Good luck to you, mate, on Wednesday night. May the best state win.
Good luck, mate.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website